Okay, what's up, everyone? Just getting set up here because I had some technical issues, but today I'll be going over Cat's Cradle chapter 65 through 80, and let's get right into it. All right, so Azure, yeah. Oh, okay, good timing. I actually just started, and apparently you got here just before I started. It's a little distracted with technical setup. I've been trying to fix my YouTube chat, um, which shows up on the screen in a way that I don't want it to, but whatever. I couldn't fix it, so. Okay, so just doing a quick catch up on the previous chunk of reading. Just today I feel a little less prepared just because I've just been having some trouble sleeping. And right now we have just arrived at San Lorenzo, and we're standing on this stage, and um, we're kind of meeting Papa Manzano, I think, as well as Mona, as well as the other son Frank. I think Frank was his name. Did I not read this chapter yet? 65? Okay, I haven't. Okay, so this is exactly where we're beginning. Okay. Okay. And we're in this country where the religion of the people is at odds with the dictatorial government. The narrator will convert to the religion of the people, and uh, I guess that kind of makes us on the religion side. This is pitted against the science and technology and progress that is represented in Dr. Breed. Uh, and I guess it's pitted against the government itself of San Lorenzo. And I'm gonna look to see how that conflict kind of plays out. But like I also mentioned last week, I'm gonna sort of just be in for the ride, and and there are too many characters. There are too many little moments of commentary on 1960s America for me to kind of keep up without an extensive amount of effort. So I'm just gonna just sort of see what happens. Okay, so here we go. Papa, self-educated. Three glass-faced new buildings. It's interesting how the modern glass-faced building gets a whole paragraph to itself. Low Crosby. Oh, is confused to be the ambassador. He's not the ambassador. Okay, we're confusing Crosby with the other guy. Oh, so he's hurt in some way? There were tears in my eyes. Well, he is pro America. He's in pain. Now he's talking to Horlick Minton. Christian. Anti communists. The hook, right. Ugh, that gruesome hook. You've picked a good time to come to us. The day of the 100 Martyrs to Democracy. Frank Timona. Okay, a whooping lie. Every American knows San Lorenzo's sacrifice in World War II. So we're being pretty critical of America's relationships to the to its to the dictators in its sphere of influence during during the Cold War. These American politicians, they lie, they flatter. The dictators, they also flatter, and they pay lip service to democracy. Commanded us all to honor him, which is kind of funny little turn of phrase. What children these two will have. What blood, what beauty. The pain hit him again. But it did not pass. He's in agony. Okay. Go home. Oh, and he collapses immediately. Wow. Okay, that was very fast development. Strongest thing there is. Here we go. Not dead. He's twitching. Well, that's dramatic. Okay. We just arrive here and he immediately is like past that comatose. Um, this this also one thing that's kind of um, I guess it's certainly a choice is we continue to keep putting apostrophes like these square quotes around Papa even in the middle of these sentences like give him air, give Papa air, uh, and it's like a decision you don't need to make. You could put quotations on it every time that maybe the narrator is speaking. Maybe the narrator has like an attitude towards the name Papa, towards the nickname Papa. But even like within Frank's dialogue, it'll be like, give him air, give Papa air. So, yeah. It's and I don't really know what to do with that. All other than it makes everything sound very tongue in cheek. Um, it gives a like extra layer of unreality around this character. The fighter plane pilots, and one has enough sense to call the ambulance. Okay, the the servicemen of the dictatorial apparatus here, they're kind of dumb, right? They don't, or they wait for orders. Oh, Mona is chill. Interesting. Mona's okay. So Frank is the one that's panicking. Mona is not the adopted child. He had a perspiring radiance that I attributed to his being so near to her. Okay, it's okay. Uh, he's being light consciousness. You. Held it by Papa's bubbling lips to amplify the words. So death rattles and all sorts of spastic yodels bounced. Death rattles and all sorts of spastic yodels bounced off the new buildings. Going back to that building reflection, that was such an interesting. Now we're doing more with that building reflection. Kind of, that's kind of a. It's sort of a beautifully dark image. Death rattles and spastic yodels bouncing. Then came words. You will be the next president. Science. Science is the strongest thing there is. Okay. Interesting. So this government, this dictatorship, democracy, anti-communism, Christianity, and science, they are all allies. Which sounds a lot like America. Except for the dictatorship part, I guess. Ice, Mona, catatonic, orgiastic rigidity. Okay. Of one receiving the Medal of Honor. I forgot catatonic actually. Abnormal movements. Okay. Oh, because people who receive the Medal of Honor, they stand on stage and they're very stiff. So the pilot is stiff. Her small brown foot was bare, and she was obscenely kneading the instep of the flyer's boot. So she's sort of like jerking off the foot of the pilot. Okay. Well, that's spicy. I mean, we knew that something was off when Mona was calm about the death of her father dictator, adoptive father dictator. Now we have more, like we already had this sort of wild sexual attraction to Mona from the narrator. Now we're sexualizing her even more with this kind of secret act. Again, what am I supposed to do with the sexualized island lady? I don't know. I'm just gonna move on. Hyuku. I don't know. Papa didn't die. He keeps not dying, and I feel like this could be a joke. Like for the next like 5 chapters, he keeps not dying. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think Vonnegut gonna do that, but it could. He was rolled away in the big red meat wagon. The Mintons get actually. What the hell is a big red meat wagon? I don't even know what that's referring to. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to imagine there. But we get the Mittens, the ambassador family and their couple in their limousine, and then we get Newt and Angela in the San Lorenzo limousine. Newt and Angela is gonna link up with Frank, and they all have the ice. Okay, Crosby's and I, the business people and I, are taken to the hotel in some taxi. Another limousine owned by Philip Castle, the owner of Casamona. Okay. They're upset by the idea of Bakonin. Apparently, the narrator can understand the San Lorenzo dialect. Very bad man, Vori Balmone. A communist? Oh, sure. Yeah. No. Hard man to find. He's very smart. Nobody feed him. Nobody want the hook. Hook. Okay. It's a scary hook. Hunyera Morators. Hunyera. Okay, I don't know. I asked the driver who they are. To fight on the side of democracy, which feels vaguely, what do you call it? Helldiversy. These 100 men were put on a ship for the U.S. It was sunk by a German submarine. Those, sir, are the Hunyera Morators. Okay. 100 martyrs to democracy. They were all sunk in one submarine. Okay, let's just keep going. I'm just trying to process. Right now, we're learning about the world of San Lorenzo. Just keep going until we get a little bit more direct of a conflict. The Crosbys and I had the curious experience. First register. Startled by a wholly blank register. Kind of the image that I get is our images of like North Korea. He had to think about it for a while. You sign, he said to me. You sign, he said to me. He declared his wish to photograph a man who was making a huge mosaic. 20 feet high mosaic. A muscular and young man. He only had white duck trousers. He was a white man. What? Okay. The mosaicist was making the fine hairs on the nape of her swan neck out of chips of gold. Okay. Came back to report that the man was the biggest pissant he had ever met. I envy you. I always knew that if I waited long enough, somebody would come and envy me. This. What? Okay. That's I guess good advice for life, guys. Whenever if you wait long enough, somebody will come by and envy you. Keep waiting. Are you an American? That happiness is mine. Do you want to take my photograph too? Do you mind? I think I am. I think therefore I am. Therefore I am photographable. Well, for Christ's sake, get it? You shouldn't trust your memory, should you? Okay, so this guy is like this weird kind of quasi-religious, like verbal like habits. This is kind of okay. You're not gonna trust your memory, will you? Take a photograph, damn it. You will forget when you're dead. I'm working from or what? I'm working from or what? It's all in this head of mine. So this guy is he doesn't use photos, but he keeps it in his head. You know her? That happiness is mine. A lucky man. He's a piece of shit. You're candid. I'm also rich. Okay. Money doesn't make people happy necessarily. You've just saved me a lot of trouble. I was gonna make a lot of money just now. How? Writing. Okay. Yeah. I wrote a book once. What was it called? San Lorenzo, The Land, the History of the People. Or wasn't that the book we were? Didn't we read this book earlier? Am I hallucinating this? I vaguely remember. Yeah. Yeah. This is the book we were reading in the plane. Let me go back really quickly because I feel like I'm forgetting some things. Okay, so the Mintons were reading it. And we learn about Bokonon through this book. Okay. All right, back to our mosaicist, our mysterious mosaicist, our mysterious American mosaicist with the who is blessed to have seen Mona and to have her image in his head, and now he's working on her neck hairs by adding little gold flakes to the painting or to the mosaic. I mean, okay. Tutored by Bokonon. You are Philip Castle, and that was him. Okay. Right, because he's the one who wrote the book. That happiness is mine. I'm here to see your father. Are you an aspirin salesman? No. He needs aspirin. What makes you think a writer isn't a drug salesman? Which is kind of a funny commentary on the book. On writers. To read to people who are dying or in terrible pain. Nope. There'd be money in it. The 23rd Psalm is very, very famous. I know that combination of numbers and words, like Psalm 23. It's really famous, but you know what? Might as well just do a quick refresher. I want to remember which psalm that is. The Lord is my shepherd. Okay, so this is where we get the. You prepare to. Okay, this is right. This is the thing that you repeat in churches. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not be in want. That whole thing is the 23rd Psalm. I suppose I could. I suppose I could remix the 23rd Psalm. Okay, which is like a random. It's a very weird and funny line of dialogue to invent, Kurt Vonnegut. So good on you. Something that dying people could repeat, and yeah, might as well just plagiarize. But Conan tried to overhaul it. He couldn't change a word. It's perfect. You know him too. He was my tutor. He was Mona's tutor too. Was he a good teacher? I can both read and write, if that's what you mean. Okay, so Bokonon is a religious mystic. He is a tutor of English and arithmetic, uh, and he has tried to remix the psalm, the 23rd Psalm as well. The happiness of being an American. Yes. Crosby came over to have another go at Castle, the pissant. What do you call yourself, a beatnik or what? I'm a Baconanist. Okay, so Crosby is the Republican here, right? He's the Republican business owner, and so he he obviously hates this sort of hippie-ish uh, uh, Castle, Philip Castle guy. That's against the law in this country, isn't it? I happen to have the happiness of being an American. I can be Baconist. Nobody can bother me. Okay, so he has the armor of being American. You are not telling me the news. Screw you, Jack. Screw you, Jasper. Jasper has this sort of upper class sounding uh, ring. Screw Mother's Day and Christmas too. Okay. And so Crosby's obviously seething. No, not Mother's Day. Not Christmas. Um, you got a nice little country here. I don't ever want to see that man in San Lorenzo again. So we have this like rich Republican guy, uh, assuming that whenever he wants something, it will be done. Sir, he owns the hotel, and this is exactly the comeuppance that you always imagine, right? So this is like the getting back at the Karen before Karens were a thing. This is Crosby himself. The Pissant Hilton. Now we're in the hotel of the guy we hate. When I say we, I'm talking about Crosby. Oh, they leave. Okay. He demanded quarters at the American embassy. So he's this hotel makes no money. Holy crap. Um, okay. The only guest in a 100-room hotel. The squalor and misery of the city were impossible to see because we're only looking at the airport and the harbor and beyond. It's actually that interaction I didn't feel was super bizarre. Um, it was very much like a American conservative meets an American hippie kind of interaction. It was very very relatable actually. I thought. Um, and coming from the blamming heat, well, I haven't heard blam, dude. I haven't heard that in a long time. Okay, the room was chilly. I sneezed. Fresh flowers, but my bed had not been made and not even a pillow. Well, that's kind of crappy for a hotel. No toilet paper. Oh, I forgot about the feet. Okay, the feet and the religion. So that sort of like vague sexual image is actually not that sexual at all, but it is. But it isn't. Okay, but whatever. Um, they were sitting on a shelf, ran the width of the window wall. Their eyes are closed. They're facing each other. They're pressing the feet together. The rigidity of a triangle. He clears his throat. They were expecting to be killed. Excuse me, don't tell. Please don't tell what you saw. And then they react like it's kind of like there's like two layers here, like from a sort of like a modern, like just like normal life perspective. Two dudes rubbing their feet together is very sexual. So that's the initial reaction. But secondly, within the world of this story, it's a sort of religious thing. It's like a prayer thing. Oop, my screen just went off. What happened? All right, let me try to fix it. Okay, that was easy. So, yeah, it's a religious thing. Is that I don't know. Is that a comment on how to make a successful religion? Should you encode, should you bake in a couple of like quasi-sexual interactions into the religion itself? No comment, but that's what they're doing. We're gonna die on the hook. Hyuka. Look, friends. Please get up. Bokumaru. And the foot ceremony is also kind of, it is a derivation of, I think, something from Christianity, which is that in the Gospels, Jesus goes around washing people's feet, which is, not something that like high status religious leaders would do. We're touching the feet. We'll love each other. We'll love the earth. Black Death. So the Baconinists are pretty strong, and it's honestly looking like Papa Manzano was poisoned by Mona. That Mona is kind of a double agent. Not a double agent. Wait, double agent? Is that the right term? Mona is kind of like an agent for the Baconinists. Murdered Papa Manzano after building up his trust and everything. That's the general sense that I'm getting. And I guess we'll see. Philip Castle, Mazaeus, historian, self-indexer. All right, self-indexer. The pissant and hotel keeper was installing a roll of toilet paper in my bathroom. Well, this is not a very well taken care of hotel, man. This hotel kind of sucks. A hotel with real heart. You have a direct interest. How many hotels have just one guest? You used to have 3. Those were the days. Okay. Those were the days. It was like literally a couple hours ago. Okay. I may be speaking out of turn, but I find it hard to understand how a person of your interests would be attracted to the hotel business. I don't seem to be good with guests as I might, do I? I knew some people in the hotel school at Cornell, and I can't help feeling they would have treated the Crosbys somewhat differently. I know. Damned if I know why I built this hotel. I had to build this hotel. It was the only choice besides being a hermit. Wait, what did his father, Julian Castle, do with his life? What did Julian Castle do with his life? I'm gonna do a quick search to see if I can find it. He founded a free hospital in a jungle. Unselfish. He's a sugar millionaire that kind of, right. converted later in life and started serving the people. So I guess that's the general idea we're talking about. Built the hospital, serving the people. Yeah, Philip is definitely very funny. Philip is very. Philip is has the best lines so far out of this story. Wait, losing track, losing track. What's going on? Unselfish guy, 15, mutiny, Greek ship from Hong Kong to Havana, lots of furniture. The mutineers got control of the ship, smashed her up. Everybody drowned but the rats. The rats and the wicker furniture came ashore. Okay, it's kind of not good. People got bubonic plague. Okay. Um, 1,400 deaths. Have you ever seen anybody die of bubonic plague? That unhappiness has not been mine. Um, the lymph glands in the groin and the armpits swell to the size of a grapefruit. After death, the body turns black. The House of Hope and Mercy in the jungle looked like Auschwitz. The bulldozer stalled trying to shove them. Worked without sleep for days. I didn't even know the telephones were connected yet. Hello, it was Franklin. Listen, you've got to come out to my house right away. We have to have a talk. It could be a very important thing in your life. Can you give me some idea, bro? No, come. All right, I'm not kidding you. This is a really most important thing. This is a really important thing in your life. This is the most important thing ever. He hung up. Okay, it's kind of annoying. Okay. I haven't got the slightest idea. Wants to see me right away. Take your time, relax. He's a moron, Frank is. Which is interesting. We've had mostly. Previously, we had a very positive description of Frank, but now we're having the opposite. And this might be the first time we're getting direct positive. No, that's not true. We've had positive and negative descriptions of Felix Hoenecker, for example. So we're getting multiple perspectives on Frank. I could carve a better man out of a banana. Well, finish your story anyway. Where was I? So we are gonna ignore Frank. Okay. Uh, yeah, let's commit. The bubonic plague, bulldozer stalled by corpses. Father started giggling. Hey, what's with this book and weird dads? He couldn't stop. He was still giggling, and all the dead people stacked outside. And do you know what that marvelous said to me? Son, someday this will all be yours. Creepy as hell. So creepy. Um, okay. I don't know what to, I was actually viscerally disgusted by that sentence. Ugh. Ooh, Cat's Cradle. We get to the title. Here we go. Frank's house. San Lorenzo's one taxi cab. This comical 1930s limousine. We pass through the scenes of hideous want. I like how even in the 60s, we just say scenes of hideous want, and Kurt Vonnegut expects his reader to just know what that looks like. Because I know what that, to me, I have a very clear image, or I mean, I guess I have multiple images in my head, but I'm also assisted by like movies of slums and whatnot. I wonder where people in their 60s would have, I wonder how they would have had the images. Maybe photographs and magazines. Frank's house had once been the home of Nestor Amons, the architect of the House of Hope and Mercy. Right, Nestor Amons and Julian Castle and Bakonin. Wait, Nestor Amons. Wait, now I forgot Bakonin's name. Yeah, I forgot his name, but I guess it was the three of them that started. That started the religion. No, the hospital. Okay. And he really doesn't do much besides design the hospital. He was from. He was a Finn who was okay. I'm trying to remember what Bakonin's relationship to these two were. It straddled a waterfall, had a terrace cantilevered out into the mist rising from the fall. I think I know what cantilevering looks like, but I just want to, yeah, I just want to double check. I have an image in my head, and I want to confirm that's the right image. Yeah, okay. A cunning lattice of very light steel posts. The interstices of the lattice were variously open, chanked, or curtained. Sounds like a well-designed. Um, Johnson's right, and that's McCabe. Oh my God. Okay, your memory is so much better. Um, with McCabe, McCabe. Okay, I need to. You know what I need to do? If I'm reading this every 2 days, it's fine. But the gap between Thursday and Tuesday is long enough and busy enough for me that me with my already shitty memory having to suffer 5 days of not reading will end up with an even worse memory than normal. So I probably need to start taking notes as I read. Because it's just harming the quality of my streams to have this like 1 week, this nearly 1 week gap between the streams. I'll do that after today's stream, but I'll probably make a chart. I'll probably make a chart right before, right after this. A chart of all the characters. Oh, I'm glad that your memory is not so much better than mine. But still, just for the sake of the stream, I should start taking notes. I shouldn't be lazy with that. So I'll do that. I'll do that between now and next stream. Amons designed the thing. It has this, right, it's kind of well designed. Servant greeted me politely, told me that Frank wasn't home yet. Frank was expected at any moment. The servant at Frank's house is at Frank's very nice house is plump. Stanley is leading him to Bed with a foam rubber slab on a stone shelf, a shelf of living stone. Living stone. The walls were canvas. Okay. It's kind of a foam rubber slab on a stone shelf. Okay, it's kind of exotic, I guess. I asked Stanley if anyone else was home. Only neat was Angela had gone sightseeing to the hospital. Capital Jungle. I went out onto the giddy terrace, found little Newt asleep. He made this dreadful painting. Okay, let's go and look at this painting. Scratches made in a black gummy impasto. I don't know what impasto is. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, yeah. The scratches formed a spider's web. Human futility hung up on a moonless night to dry. Okay. I mean, yeah. That's a cool painting. Yeah. Explosion far away. Oh, that's a good verb. I don't know this. It caromed. It carom. Caromed. Ah, I didn't know this. I didn't know this word at all before. Okay, it caromed up the valley and went to God. It was a cannon on the waterfront of Boulevard. Major Doma told me it was fired every day at 5, making black smears around his face. I like your painting, complier. I suppose it means something different to everyone who sees it. It's a cat's cradle. Ooh. The scratches are string, right? One of the oldest games there is. Cat's Cradle. Even the Eskimos know it. You don't say. For maybe 100,000 years or more, grown-ups have been waving tangles of string in their children's faces. This goes back to, finally, back to Felix Hoenecker. Um, he's curled. No wonder kids grow up crazy. A cat's cradle is nothing but a bunch of X's between somebody's hands, and little kids look at all those X's, and no damn cat, no damn cradle. It's just, it's true. Bunch of X's, no cats, no cradles. Um, it's like seeing something there that isn't there and collectively hallucinating it. That's kind of a cool image. Um, Seeing something there that's not there, just seeing a bunch of X's. It's a very, it feels very meaningful, right? This symbol. It makes you want to think about it. Give my regards to Albert Schweitzer. No, hang on, what was that? No damn cat and no damn cradle. Okay, I like that. Give my regards to Albert Schweitzer. I feel like I've seen this name before, but I've already forgotten. Oh no, it's a real person. Okay, a theologian. Beanpole sister. Came in with Julian Castle, father Philip, and founder of the hospital. Castle wore a baggy white linen suit and a string tie. He had a scraggly mustache. He was bald. He was a saint, I think. He talked out of the corner of his mouth like a gangster. You're a follower of this theologian. At a distance, he gave a criminal sneer. I've never met the gentleman. Maybe, maybe not. You ever see him? You ever expect to? Maybe I will. Well, in case you run across him, tell him he's not my hero. You can tell him he isn't my hero, but you can also tell him that thanks to him, Jesus Christ is. I think he'll be glad to hear it. I don't give a damn if he is or not. This is something between Jesus and me. Okay. Julian Castle has a lot of attitude. All right. Not exactly the saint we were expecting. Agrees with Newt that everything is meaningless. Okay. This book does seem very informed by Christianity. Everything is meaningless is not originally Christian. It's originally Judaism, but it's from Ecclesiastes. Here we go. Castle made a pinhole of a curled index finger. I don't know what to imagine. Oh, what? They went to the painting, made a pinhole of a curled index finger, squinted at the painting, threw it. Wait, what? I don't even know what to imagine here. Oh, is this literally just? Are they using their hand and they're just looking through their hand? Like, is that what that means? Like they're just making a pinhole through their index finger, like with their thumb and index finger. Oh, I guess. Oh, but if you're not using a thumb, then I guess you can look at it. You can kind of look at. See, I'm looking at the camera right now through a pinhole of my curled index finger. That's interesting. I've never done that before. I don't think maybe I did that as a kid, maybe like a long time ago, but I guess you can make a small pinhole through something like this by curling your index finger. And they're squinting at the painting through it, which, by the way, I wasn't sure if it was worth taking the minute to figure out what the hell they were doing, but I just took a whole minute to figure out what they were doing. And because this painting is such an interesting painting for me, I like this additional layer. You could look at a painting just with your two eyes, but you could also distort the way that you look at the painting by making a pinhole, and that changes the way you look at things in the world, right? And I like that we're talking about how to look at things, and the meanings that we derive from the things that we're looking at. It feels like a meaningful commentary on art, on life, on interpretation. What do you think of it? It's black. Amazing. Amazing art criticism. It's black. What is it? Hell. It's such a funny reaction. It means whatever it means. Then it's hell. I was told a moment ago that it was a cat's cradle. Inside information always helps. I don't think it's very nice. I think it's very ugly. Self-taught, are you? Isn't everybody? Very good answer. Okay, that conversation was ridiculous. Okay, let's go back to Ecclesiastes because we're about to hit that. Ecclesiastes is a book attributed to it's a book in the Bible attributed to Solomon, and in it describes a wise man. And even me, I haven't really thought about this in a long time, so I'll pick it up. An Ecclesiastes, and literally as a good old Protestant Christian, I read the New International Version. The words of the teacher being the son of David, the son of David being Solomon. Um, the Ecclesiastes is kind of an interesting poetic work for me. I vaguely remember enjoying reading this when I was a kid. Um, Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Um, where's the really famous line? Is it not in? Is it not in the first chapter? It's kind of like yeah, it's kind of like existentialist ish, but older. I, the teacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under the heavens. What a heavy burden God has laid on mankind. I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. What is crooked cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. Um, yeah, so honestly, as a teenager, I was reading this stuff and I was like, meaningless, meaningless. Everything is meaningless. And I'm like, hell yeah. The generations come, generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and sets, hurries back to where it rises. Okay, so yeah, this is just a famous book in the Bible, and I was just talking about how Kurt Vonnegut was alluding to it in this chapter. Let's see how it comes out. I attempted to explain the significance, but Newt didn't want to go through that. And Castle nodded and said, "Yeah, so I guess this is about meaninglessness, meaninglessness. Do you agree?" Jesus. Right, because Castle loves Jesus. Jesus is the hero of Castle. Who? Jesus Christ. Oh, him. People have to talk about something just to keep their voice boxes in working order. So they'll have good voice boxes in case there's ever anything really meaningful to say. And that's why we talk about Jesus? I see. I was going to have to concentrate on his saintly deeds and ignore entirely the satanic things he thought and said. You may quote me, man is vile, and man makes nothing worth making, knows nothing worth knowing. He shook little Newt's painty hand. I like this Julian Castle character as well. Um, I will save this as well. A little overstated. Then the saint marched to Newton's painting, took it from the easel, garbage like everything else, and he threw the painting off the terrace. There was nothing little Newt could say. You've got paint all over your face, honey. Go wash it off. So this is actually really good. Like, this is really good here. You can tell if you read between the lines. This is actually a great example of when to read between the lines. Um, there was nothing little Newt could say. Angela spoke first. That implies there was a bit of a silence there. There was a moment where different people could have spoken first, but it's actually Angela who spoke first. And Angela kind of she forces the social movement, the social moment to just move on by saying something completely unrelated. Go wash your face off, honey. Right? So Newt is pissed, or upset, or sad, or something. But we're kind of eliding that part. We're skipping over that part. Okay, here we go. Aspirin Bokomaru. I'm going to chapter 80 today. All right, so we're pretty close to the end now. Aspirin and Bokumaru. I'm pretty sure we had Bokumaru as a term before. I'm just forgetting what it is now. Oh. The mingling. Oh, yeah. The mingling of awareness. It's the feet thing. Tell me, doctor. Satanic. Sorry, I was just laughing because I saw your chat. Um, yeah, Julian Castle is a very arrogant saint, which is a funny character to have. We have Newt, who keeps getting belittled by his own sister, but he's used to it. And he's kind of like a little child genius, I guess, with this. He's not a child. Sorry, he's a little person. Um, because of Angela, I'm starting to see Newt as a child, but he's not a child. Um, he does this sort of modern painting that everyone hates, except for the narrator. Okay, we'll see. How is Papa Manzano? How would I know? We don't speak. We administer the last rites of the Baconist Church. Oh, okay. So this is Julian, right? Yeah, this is Julian. And so Julian's hero is Jesus, but he actually performs Baconist rituals at the church. Sorry, at the hospital. And the only thing that's saving him is that he's American. So that's an interesting tension there. Okay, we could do like a junior version of the ritual. You don't have to touch the feet with me. Just try it. Just try the ritual. He is telling the narrator. He told me about the Baconist attitude with feet. You know, people who do that really feel better about each other and the world. It sounds very hippie, but you know what? You probably do feel better. Like, go ahead and do it with somebody that you love. Go and touch feet. I'm sure you'll feel better. It's kind of something that kids do, right? We have a bunch of games where we sit down on the floor and we kind of like kind of do like splits, not full splits, but like partial splits, and like maybe you like make a star with your feet or whatever, and you play games or whatnot. I think you probably do feel better. It works. I'm grateful for things that work. Not many things do work. Actually, I like that part of the quote too. Yeah, it does. This is very practical. you know, it's not like the H bomb. This is something that makes you feel better. I gather that there are still several Baconists on the island despite the Huk. You haven't caught on yet. Everyone is a Baconist, Hook notwithstanding. 78. Ring of Steel. When Buchanan and McCabe took over this miserable country years ago, they threw out the priests and cynically, playfully invented a new religion. Interesting. Now let's go and find the former ruler of San Lorenzo, McCabe. Let's go and look. Mount McCabe, Mount McCabe, Mount McCabe, Earl McCabe, Let's go remind myself of McCabe. So Johnson ends up at Port-au-Prince, Haiti. He's approached there by a marine deserter, a corporal who just stole some money, and they, in, yeah, come to the island and invent it together. That's all we know about him so far, I guess. We don't know much else about McCabe, it sounds like. They wanted to make a utopia, and they failed. They tried some like socialist experiments. Okay. And there's a mountain named after him. Truth was the enemy of the people because the truth was so terrible that it was better to have lies. Okay, this kind of goes back to Socrates, man, or Plato's Republic. I forgot the term. What's the term? Plato's Republic, noble lie. Am I hallucinating this? Okay. No, I'm definitely not hallucinating it. It's definitely part of the Republic. The noble lie is to serve as a charter myth for a good city, a myth of a national or civic identity, or rather two related myths, one grounding that identity in the brotherhood of the entire population, and the other one that makes the city's differentiated class structure a matter of divine dispensation. They will be strongly motivated to care for the city and for each other. The lie that brings people together. We want one single grand lie, which will be believed by everybody, including the rulers, ideally, but failing that, at least the rest of the city. Grand lie, noble lie. A true blue lie. Okay. Ellen Bloom defends that translation. We have Karl Popper. It's hard to understand why those of Plato's commentators who praise him for fighting against the subversive conventionalism of the sophists fail to censure him for making a convention the ultimate basis of religion. Okay. Oh, and then we go, wow, Baconanism comes out right here. Well, okay, I was not expecting that, but here we go. Yeah. So just had to do a little bit of that. Just I think that felt fruitful. It felt fruitful to come back into Plato for a second. But yeah, it seems like something. I think it's worth discussing. Actually, it's like and thinking about like is it just better to have that lie, and and Kurt Vonnegut, the way he writes this narrator you can't tell how serious Kurt Vonnegut's being. Does he really mean this, or is he just kind of dicking with us? Like, where does his view lie, to use that word again? And I'm gonna guess that Kurt Vonnegut never gives us a satisfying, resounding conclusion to his own perspective on this. He's gonna kind of just tell the story tongue-in-cheek, and we'll never really know whether he agrees or disagrees with it. But the way, just by writing it this way, it makes us think about it. Is it better to have this lie? How did he come to be an outlaw? That was his own idea. Okay, that's that's even funnier. I would not have even expected that. Okay, he's asking McCabe to outlaw him to give the religious life more zest, more tang. That is so bad. Okay. He wrote a little poem about it. This is kind of like, I mean, I don't want to get too far into American politics, but because I don't even really pay attention to American politics, but you know how people think, there are some people who think that Donald Trump staged the assassination. It's kind of like that. It's inverted. It's not for religion. It's for the government, but still, you can create some urgency by making yourself by posing yourself as being under attack. So that's the idea there. It was his own idea. He quoted the poem, a poem that doesn't come out in the books of Bakonin, which is interesting. Now there's two sources of poems. I gave my reason that a really good religion is a form of treason. At first, the many people die. No, it was all make believe. McCabe had a good old time making bloodthirsty threats against the Bakoninists, which was everybody. Went to cozy, hiding in the jungle. Ate good things. He would organize the unemployed into great Bakonin hunts. About every 6 months, McCabe would announce triumphantly that a Bakonin was surrounded by a ring of steel, which was remorselessly closing in. Then the leaders of the remorseless ring would have to report to McCabe that Bakonin had done the impossible. Miracle, right? So we're creating a saint. We're creating a religious figure by his escapes. Huh. You were just reading something about this, the notion that being on the yeah. Yeah, if you know where that's from, go ahead. Please share that link in the chat. Why McCabe's soul grew coarse. So initially, he just plays along, but McCabe and Bakonin have a falling out of some sort. What happens here? McCabe and Bakonin did not succeed in raising the standard of living. The truth was that life was short and brutish and mean. Lots of illusions here. This is another illusion. Good old U Chicago guy. Oh, dude, I have to. I am not on time. Okay, you know what? I have to take this phone call. So, sorry, I'm gonna need a 5 minute pause. Okay, thanks for waiting. Sorry for that uh, interruption. I guess I was somebody somebody came a little earlier than I requested, and I'm also taking a little longer than I expected. So that combination led to that. Okay, last two chapters. Here we go. But something bad happens between McCabe and Bakonin. We'll see what happens. Life was short and brutish and mean. All right, so that was an illusion. That was another illusion, which is, I feel like it's a, right. Life is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Nasty, brutish, and short. Nasty, brutish, and short. And that's the phrase that I guess we hear about life. The life of man is short and hard. Okay, yeah. People didn't have to pay as much attention to the awful truth with this holy man in the jungle. The cruel tyrant in the city, the gentle holy man in the jungle, they were all employed as actors in a play that they understood. That any human being anywhere could understand and applaud. That's kind of an interesting metaphor or analogy, that we're all actors in a play that we can understand. Yes, there was only one trouble. The drama was very tough on the souls of the two main actors. As young men, they were pretty much similar. They were both half angel, half pirate. But the drama demanded that the pirate half of Bakonin and the angel half of McCabe wither away. And they paid a terrible price in agony for the happiness of the people. That's an interesting, it's like an interesting Gnostic good versus evil, like commentary on how this works. People aren't actually all good or all evil, right? That's we have kind of both in us, but we, through like kind of Gnostic styles of religion, we can externalize. Actually, not just Gnostic. I mean, just generally through religion, we can externalize it. There's a force for evil, a force for good, and we kind of abstract it away from us, and so that we can kind of think about it that way. They became, for all practical purposes, insane. Then people really did start dying on the hook, but Bakonin was never caught. McCabe never went that crazy. He never made a serious effort to catch Bakonin. It would have been too easy to do. Why didn't he catch him? Without Bakonin, he himself would become meaningless, and Papa Manzano understands that as well. It's inevitably fatal. Does Papa really have people executed that way? He executes one every 2 years just to keep the pot boiling. Busy, busy, busy. It's what the Bakonists say. You, a Bakonist too, you too, you'll find out. You too, you'll find out. That's kind of funny. That was actually pretty good commentary on religion. And it's not judgmental. It's just sort of understanding. It's a sort of understanding, non-judgmental commentary on religion. Waterfall strainers. We're on the cantilever terrace, and this cantilever terrace keeps coming out multiple times, so I'm glad that I looked it up the first time. We had cocktails, no word from Frank. We're fairly heavy drinkers, apparently. Interesting. Castle told me that his days as a playboy had cost him a kidney. Now he's drinking ginger ale. This is Julian Castle, the older guy. Complained that the world swindled her father. General Forge and Foundry gave him a $45 bonus for every patent. I assume he got a salary too. $28,000 a year. Do you know what movie stars make? You know, Dr. B made 10,000 more dollars a year than Father did. Injustice. Injustice. Shrilly exercised. And exercise is a good word for describing somebody who's vexed. That I changed the subject. What do you thought? I asked Julian Castle what he had thought had become of the painting he had thrown down the waterfall. Yeah, let's just rub that into Newt's face. Newt is right there, by the way. So, so it's very annoying to talk about this, but here we go. There's a little village at the bottom, 5 or 10 shacks. It's his birthplace, incidentally. A net made of chicken wire across a notch in a bowl, in the bowl of the it's like a pool where the waterfall ends. Water spills out of the notch into a stream. So the chicken wire might have caught the painting. Nothing stays in the net very long. Is being dried in the sun by now, along with the butt of my cigar. Huh. I don't know. Like it's like talking about polluting and talking about poor people. It's interesting. It makes me uncomfortable. Poor people just being poor, and this is like a very like it's very detailed. It's like yeah, that is probably how things work. Um, if you do litter, poor people probably do pick it up and do stuff with it. Um, okay, Angela is really upset by this and not moving on from the topic. Don't cry. Sometimes I can't help it. Go get your clarinet. That always helps. Uh, but actually, it was serious and practical. Okay, sometimes it's the only thing that helps. She was too shy to get her clarinet right away, so we had to keep begging her to play, and she had to have 2 more drinks. All right, I will. She's had a tough time. She needs a rest. She's been sick. Her husband is mean as hell to her. Her extremely handsome husband. He's drunk and generally covered with lipstick. From the way she talked, I thought it was a very happy marriage. Little Newt held his hands 6 inches apart, and he spread his fingers. See the cat, see the cradle. Again, there's no string, so it's just imaginary. And now this is becoming a generalized commentary on society, not just religion. That we all sort of like live with these convenient fictions. The fiction in this case being the fiction of happiness, the happy marriage, that she is happily married to this guy that's cheating on her. And we're just reading that into it. Do you see the cat? Do you see the cradle? We're going to imagine it together, and we're going to make it real through the power of our imagination and the social structures that allow these things to be imagined. Okay. I think in terms of just pure entertainment value, I think chapters 65 through 80 were probably lower on the scale compared to previous chapters. But in terms of kind of commentary on not just not just the general political climate of the 60s, but really commentary on humanity and just the way that um, we are the pitting of good versus evil in Bakonin versus McCabe, and like even the whole thing about the feet and Julian Cass is just liking things that work. And uh, and yes, obviously the painting, the black painting that looks like a spider's web, it turns out to be a cat's cradle, I guess, or it turns out to be hell, I guess. It turns out to be whatever you think it is because life is meaningless, I guess. But we also see what we see in it, that whole thing. This set of chapters is pretty good at just providing meaningful commentary on just, I don't know, I guess psychology and human society and art. Uh, so I think I wasn't really, you know what, if I go back to my previous stream, to my stream that ends on chapter 64, I'm pretty sure I wasn't expecting anything like this. It's pretty different from what I was expecting. We're getting a lot more layers of the symbolic meaning, especially since the primary, the eponymous cat's cradle, the thing that the title is about, actually finally comes out. Um, yeah, that was an interesting set of chapters. I'm still wondering what to do with Felix playing with strings, right? I feel like by the end of this story, by the end of this book, we're gonna get Felix playing with the strings again somehow. And we even had another father. This was Julian Castle, I think, right? Philip Castle talking about Julian Castle, talking about strings and cat. No damn cat, no damn cradle, right? That whole thing. So what's actually, I'm kind of forgetting what happened there. Basically, another weird father, kind of just exploring. Okay, probably Julian Castle's less important, but at least Phoenix Hoyniker, I'm kind of curious what happens with the string there, how that connects. Felix Hoyniker is a guy always just always playful, just kind of making things up. Turns out he invents the atomic bomb. Okay, but he doesn't take life very seriously. But then the day the atom bomb's made, he's playing with these strings, or whatever. It's kind of strange image. We kind of want to go back to that. Then we have the also playful McCabe and Bakonin, who kind of just playfully invent a new religion, but they end up kind of going crazy, and there are bad things that happen. So maybe there's a whole theme emerging with like the limits of play, like how playful can we really be? I'm not sure. I'm just kind of making it up right now. I'm just thinking about it out loud as I go. But there's some interesting thematic resonance there. And so this story is starting to feel like it's taking more shape now for sure, especially since we're past the halfway point. So I'm just looking forward to how it starts. I'm hoping that this very rich world that we've been developing so far, I'm hoping that it starts pointing us somewhere. And Ice Nine is still yet to be touched on, really. So that's the direction generally that we're going in. But like this general like conflict between religion and science, and humanity and science to some extent, is kind of what it's starting to feel like. Like, what is, where does that all lead? I don't know yet. But we'll learn a little bit more in the next stream. That's 2 days from now at the same time at 9 a.m. in Korea, which is 12 a.m. GMT, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time. So see you guys in 2 days. Until then, keep on learning, keep on growing. And also feel free to share whatever the books that you're reading with me in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys are reading as well. All right. Bye, guys. Take care, and see you then.